Everyone is talking about Miala's brilliance tonight. ESPN had been replaying that second goal on loop for the last 20 minutes. Sky Sports are calling Germany's performance a statement of intent. BIN Sports gave it a 9 out of 10. And you know what? They are all completely wrong about what actually happened in that match. Germany did not dominate Curaçao. Curaçao exposed Germany. And the scoreline, 5 goals, a Miala masterclass, a debut World Cup goal for a tiny island nation, that scoreline buried the most important story of the night. Stick with me, because what I am about to show you changes everything about how you should look at Germany's World Cup chances from this point forward. First, let's talk stakes, because the context here is everything. Germany came into this game with pressure that the mainstream media chose to ignore. They picked a 40-year-old goalkeeper coming out of international retirement. A goalkeeper who left on his own terms, whose legs are fine, but whose reflexes at this level, at this intensity, are an open question nobody at the DFB wants to answer publicly. Manuel Neuer's selection is either the most brilliant act of loyalty to a legend or the most dangerous gamble in German football history. Tonight did not settle that argument. Tonight made it louder. And meanwhile, behind him, Julian Nagelsmann sent out Neuer Brown, 22 years old, American father, raised between cultures, choosing the black, red, and gold in his first major tournament start. Brown has the athleticism. Brown has the engine. What Brown does not yet have is the experience of being humiliated by a world-class winger on a global stage and knowing how to recover inside that same 90 minutes. Tonight, he found out exactly what that feels like. Now let me take you inside the match, because the story of this game lives and dies with one man, Miala. And the story is not the goals. The story is what Miala did before the goals, and what Germany's defense did about it, which was absolutely nothing. In the opening 20 minutes, Miala ran at Brown every single time Curaçao had the ball in their half. Every single time. He got the ball on the right side, shifted his weight, turned inside, and Brown was a step late, 2 steps late, and then not in the conversation at all. The block that denied Miala the opener in the first 15 minutes was good defending. What happened immediately after? Curaçao continuing to probe that same corridor, that same channel, that same Brown. That was a defensive coaching failure. Nagelsmann had the information. He had eyes on it from the touchline. He did not solve it. And eventually, it cost him. Comenencia rolled it wide. The ball came back to Lukia, deflected off a German boot, and suddenly, a nation of 150,000 people had scored against the 4-time world champions. That was not a lucky goal. That was a predictable, avoidable, absolutely preventable defensive collapse. And Manuel Neuer, at 40 years old, returning from retirement in the most controversial selection of this entire tournament, could do absolutely nothing about it. Here is the number that ESPN will not show you tonight. Curaçao created 4 high-quality chances in the first half. 4. Their expected goals figure in the opening 45 minutes was 1.2 against Germany at the World Cup. That is not a minnow being brushed aside. That is a team with a genuine tactical plan built around Sanjay Hansen on the wing, the Bakuna brothers in the engine room, and the individual brilliance of Miala that genuinely hurt the 4-time world champions before the class gap and a critical set piece ultimately settled the contest. And that set piece, let's be clear about this, Landon Schlack's header was the moment that actually saved Germany tonight. Not Miala's brilliance, not the penalty, not Dennis Unav's fairy tale tap-in that had the stadium celebrating a man who 4 years ago was playing Belgian second division football. Schlack peeling from the back post to the near post for that header, while Curaçao were still buzzing, while the crowd was still processing the equalizer, while Nagelsmann was still scrambling to reorganize on the touchline. That goal was the difference between a controlled German victory and a genuine crisis. Germany were rattled. Watch the body language between Neuer and his center backs after Curaçao's goal. There is a conversation happening there that the broadcast cameras caught for exactly 2 seconds and then cut away from. Watch the space being vacated on the left side every time Brown committed forward, trying to join the attack. Germany did not look like world beaters in those 13 minutes. They looked like a team desperately grateful for a set-piece specialist and a free kick routine that worked. That is not the Germany that wins this tournament. Now let me give you the controversial verdict, because somebody has to say it. Kai Havertz, and I know the Arsenal crowd and the Premier League loyalists are about to flood my comments. Kai Havertz was the passenger in Germany's best moments tonight. The penalty was cool, composed, textbook. That is the Havertz you pay for. But the tactical burden he was supposed to carry as the focal point of this German attack, as the man Nagelsmann built the offensive system around. Miala ran his entire channel in the second half, and Havertz drifted wide, drifted deep, disappeared into moments rather than controlling them. The goals came from Miala's individual genius, from Schlack's intelligent movement, from Leroy Sané's cutback intelligence, from Unav's poacher instinct. The man getting the headlines, the man Arsenal are very proud of, the man Germany are pointing to as their tournament talisman. He was the weakest creative force on this pitch across 60 minutes of football. That is what the tape shows. Disagree with me in the comments. I genuinely want to see the argument, because I am open to being wrong. But show me the moments, not the reputation. What does this mean going forward? 2 things, and I need you to stay with me on both of them. First, Curaçao. Do not let this scoreline define them or dismiss them. Sanjay Hansen, the bold winger selection who came in at the direct expense of a defender, a choice the pundits questioned before kickoff, caused chaos on that German backline from the first whistle. Both Bacuna brothers, Leandro and Junho, showed they belong at this level. Tahith Chong, once the Young Player of the Year at Manchester United, was electric in the moments he was given the ball in space. This is a squad built on Dutch first and second division foundations, a group of players who looked at the Netherlands national team setup and said, "No, we choose our island, we choose our culture, we choose Curaçao." They have absolutely nothing to be ashamed of tonight. They gave the 4-time world champions a genuine fright in front of a global audience of hundreds of millions. What they do against the rest of their group will be very, very interesting to watch. Second, and this is the message for the rest of this tournament, the team that figures out how to press Brown high and consistently, how to get the ball into a fast winger's feet against Germany's defensive line before Schlack and his partner can readjust and cover, and how to force Neuer into a one-on-one with a fast striker. That team has a credible blueprint to eliminate Germany. Germany are beatable. Tonight proved it in a way that no scoreline can hide once you actually look at the footage. Neuer is 40. Brown is raw and has a specific exploitable weakness when pushed wide and then asked to track a runner back inside. The defensive organization when Germany's press breaks down is nowhere near 2014 level. It is nowhere near close. Brazil know it, Spain know it, France know it. Marcus Cole's verdict on tonight. Miala was extraordinary and needs to be in every World Cup Best 11 conversation starting right now. Schlack was the unsung decisive hero. Havertz was overpraised and underperformed. Dennis Unab's story, Belgian second division 4 years ago, World Cup goal scorer tonight, is the fairy tale of this group stage, and I hope every football fan stops to appreciate what that means. Germany won comfortably on the scoreboard. Germany showed cracks that a top 8 team will walk straight through. And Curaçao, history makers, already, permanently. Tell me in the comments, did you see this result coming? And more importantly, did you see how genuinely close Curaçao pushed Germany before the class finally told? Drop it below right now. Subscribe and hit the bell. Titan Sports Deep Match Insights drops in the next 12 hours. We go further than anyone.